So I do want to address something that was said by Coach Wheatley at the end of the Michigan Tech game. And this is courtesy of the Warrior Sports Network. I don't think we're allowed to slash can use the audio, but I can quote it for you. Tony Ortiz on the sideline. He asked Coach, what can you do to change around what's happened so far? 0-5 start. Coach Wheatley, well, it's not like this program has been stellar for the past 20 years, right? At the end of the day, a lot of stuff is I'm at the helm and I got to change it. I'm going to paraphrase what he said after, but Coach kind of put the onus on the players then, saying something to the effect of that they think we can just line up and play football. I've got some thoughts on that. You've got some thoughts on kind of the last part of that. I've got some thoughts on the first part of what he said.
Yeah, if you want to take that first, then I can kind of wrap us up since you're on a roll right now.
Okay. Okay. So again, coach said, well, it's not like this program has been stellar for the past 20 years. Okay. So I'm going to say right now, read a book. Okay. We don't have John U. Bacon, though. We don't have him to write a book for us. There should be. But so you're going to get my analysis here. So let's start out with the word stellar. I'm going to concede to you that there is just one official team trophy in the trophy case right now, but that one trophy is for the national runner up in 2011. I mean, so it was close a couple times to getting a full conference trophy. Didn't happen, probably one or two games away just about every year. I think a fair statement would be to say that the team from 2005 to 2022, before Coach Wheatley got here, but 20 years ago, was great at its high, so we'll call it competitive at its low. Let's average it out that this was a good team over those past 20 years. Gonna say right now, the team the past 3 years has not been good. So let's go to those past 20 years. We're gonna start out 2005 to 2007. Coach Winters gets here in 2004, his first year. I tend to write off the first year of any brand new coach uh, for their first season. It's just what it is with football. Sometimes you luck out. Sometimes you get a case where it's a successor. That was not the case here. Wayne State does start out, I think, with a 1-9, 1-10 season in 2004, but we're talking 20 years. 2005, they started out 3-7. 2006, 6-5. 2007, 3-8. I'm going to call that the building the foundation years. 2005, it's year two under Paul Winters. It's an 0-5 start. They managed to get three wins, though, including a top 10 win over Michigan Tech. Michigan Tech did used to be in the top 25. Uh, and two of those losses in a 7-loss season were one-score losses, and another loss that would later be forfeit because Saginaw Valley forfeited because I think they were cheaters that year. Something about eligibility for kids. It was a big snafu 20 years ago. 2006, you move on. 6-5 season. That's Wayne State's first winning season since 1993. That's 13 years ago. And on top of that, two of those losses were one-score losses. That team easily could have been 8-3. Again, an outstanding season for them considering what Wayne State was like before. And I think 2006 might have been the first year they put, turf down on the field. Before that, it was grass and it wasn't even that good of grass. 2007 was a step back. There were four one-score losses in that 8-loss season. Two of them went to overtime. So easily a few games there that could have flipped either way. So I'm going to call that the building the foundation years. 2008 to 2011, that's peak excellence. We know what that stretch of teams was. 8-3, 6-5, 9-2 should have gone to the playoff then. They didn't. The selection committee was stupid. And then 12-4, national runners up. We know about those years. Those have been beaten to death. Those were the years that we looked forward to when we got to Wayne State between 2012 and 2019. I'm going to call those the trying to reclaim glory years. You've got 5-5, 3-8, kind of a downturn. Then up to 7-4, 6-5, another 7-4, a 5-6, 2-9, and then 8-3 in 2019. Let's talk about that 2014 season. 7-4. There were three one-score losses. So think about that. If they had flipped around two of those, they would have been in another playoff run. Maybe even if it's just one, they're in a playoff run.
Yep.
2016, you and I definitely remember that one. That one was uh, a another 7-4 season. Unfortunately, kind of had a late collapse towards the end that we participated in a lot. Kind of some rough years in uh, 2018 or 2017 and 18, really rough in 2018. They find a way in 2019. Finish 8-3. If they had found a way against one of their two non-con losses or somehow found a way against Ferris, they would have. If they had found a way against Ferris, they would have won the GLIAC. If they would have found a way in one more non-conference game, this is another postseason team. So at this point, the way I look at it is that yes, Wayne State's been to all of one D2 playoff. They got a trophy for it. They easily could have been there if they have a coin flip somewhere over the past years. I think maybe one, two, I think between more in 2008 to 2011. And then I think two, three, four. So somewhere around like maybe five more trips to the postseason. That ultimately didn't happen, but I think it was certainly there. Then you get into 2021, 2022, the post COVID years. 2021, looking back now, we're more mature. We can look back on that season with better eyes, even though they get worse as you age. Conditioning was certainly a factor that year. Uh, Enhanced COVID restrictions around the city of Detroit, around Wayne State. You're on a medical campus. Your president is a doctor. You're not on West Michigan for political reasons. There was just no way that the conditioning was going to be as good as some of the other teams, I think. And then you look at 2022, again, another kind of post COVID year there. I think there were still some COVID things going on at Wayne State. But in that season, still, there were five one score losses. It wouldn't have been a like a perfect season by any means, but again, you take we'll say a majority of them at least, you could certainly see how Wayne State could have had a winning season bouncing off of a rough 2021 going into 22. It didn't happen that way. After Rob Fournier left, Paul Winters ends up being replaced with Tyrone Wheatley. But over the past 20 years, this has been a good team. It's had some ebbs and flows. What we're not seeing right now is a good team.
No, we're not. And I get caught up on the word stellar. Like
Yeah.
I don't really know what stellar means. Like you didn't come into Fair State. Like you weren't hired on to a team that's, making it to the semifinals every season. You're exactly right. If that's your definition of stellar, then you should have known what you had signed up for to begin with. What I don't like is taking shots and blaming things before you. When he says it's not like this program had been stellar. That's a shot at something that you have no control over. What you do have control over is you changing the direction, and it does not feel like that's happening. It's one of those like sure, like it sucks that the house is on fire, but like it was on fire before I got here, so like what's the big deal? Like, well, you're the firefighter. You came in, said you're gonna put the fire out, and like it's still burning. Like that's what the issue is. So I mean, like, we're 3 seasons in at this point and we're sitting at 0 and 5, it's very hard to think that something's going to turn around and that like all of a sudden they're going to wake up, the team, the coaches, whoever, like that all of a sudden the next game's going to come along and everything's going to be figured out. The hope continues to fade for me. I'm not hoping against it. If it happens, I will be the first one to raise my hand and said I said what I said. But I just that's the one thing that I don't really like, and it has happened to me before, and I have heard that from Coach Wheatley, and talking with him once upon a time is hearing a similar comment like that of, well, look what the team was before. I mean, at this point, I'd go back to 6 and 5. I would take on a team that's challenging to be 500. We're challenging to get a win at 2 seasons in a row now. It's just
Yeah.
so I don't know. That's what I get caught up on, and that kind of to quote Family Guy grinds my gears a little bit.
Yeah. And it's not so much that it's another rough start. It's that it's looking almost exactly the same
Yep.
as it has. It's almost going exactly as it did last year.
Yep.
Yeah, we've made some changes at the coordinators. I think individually in the micro, there is some good changes that have happened. I do prefer this offensive system, even though the results haven't been there. Unfortunately, the results weren't there the past couple of years either. Defense, I think this game aside, has looked solid. Uh, Certainly, it's again that I think they're on the field too long, but that's been the problem going back the past couple of years. So it, it's the problem that it's looking like the same song and dance. And where is it going to come from that it can get turned around? And like you said, I will eat my words if this thing gets turned around uh, with this staff. And I I don't want Wayne State to lose. I want Wayne State to be successful. I want it to be uh the best that it can, represent this university well, especially against you're playing teams that are within this state. And
No.
probably high school friends go to different ones, they come back and they can chirp at each other about, who's better, stuff like that.